Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Sheepdog Says. Thank you very much for everyone who's liked and subscribed so far. If you haven't done it yet, then you know where the button is somewhere below. Why don't you do it now before the video even starts? Thank you very much. Today's video I wanted to talk about, so most of you have probably seen at least the first 4 seasons of Prison Break. You might not have seen the newer 5th season that came out last year, and I mean, I've got to say, I was a big fan of the first 3 seasons. The 4th was okay, but the 5th season, I don't even remember how it ended. I watched it all. I'm pretty sure I watched it all, and I couldn't tell you names of any new characters. I couldn't tell you the point of it all. Couldn't tell you whether they even succeeded. To be honest, I'm going to assume that they all lived happily ever after. I'm also going to assume, sadly, that they'll never do another show. Now, before they released season 5, I always thought it would be really cool if they got to the end of season 4, where, spoilers if you've not seen it, the main character, Michael Scofield, basically, it just cuts to him dead. It's his gravestone. They're mourning the fact that he died. They're looking at, everything he's achieved. He got his brother out of prison. He got on the run. He did like one last big score. Got involved in some big conspiracy, and then ultimately, despite his efforts, he died. But his family got to live in peace, and that's all he really wanted. It was a bittersweet ending, but in my weird mind, all I kept thinking about was he escaped from a normal prison. He was on the run. He got in a horrible South American prison that was even harder to escape. He went through some weird government buildings that involved even more difficult escape routes and all sorts of machinery and whatever. There's nothing further for him to do except, if he's dead, and they try and make him escape the afterlife. Now, I know that sounds mental. The program would take an entirely fantasy, sci-fi swipe to the left of where it was. But if you look at the first 3 seasons, it started off as a prison break story, and by the end it was some mad conspiracy thriller with a little bit of sci-fi technology elements to it. There was all sorts of conspiracies to it. And let's face it, compared to what they did for season 5, my idea would probably have at least made people go, huh? And watch it out of interest. I wondered how they'd bring it back without saying it was all a lie. Michael wasn't dead. He was alive all along. He was just hiding out somewhere. And that's basically what they did. They basically said, oh, he wasn't dead. He was in the Middle East in prison, and now he's got to try and break out and go on the run again. My story hinged on the fact that whilst he got imprisoned, and broke out of prison and went on the run and was in the other prison and so on and so forth, 141 people died along that way to help him and his family get out of jail, which is mad when you consider his brother wasn't actually a criminal when he broke out, and he was in there wrongly. So ultimately 141 people died because of the good brother trying to break the bad brother out, which makes you wonder who is really the good brother. But anyway, I thought if he died at the end of season 4, he's got blood on his hands. So waking up in hell in the afterlife, not that I personally believe in that sort of thing, but waking up in the afterlife in hell, there'd have been a lot of people rather annoyed with him because they would have all been there, in part at least, because of him. It would have been a perfect chance for season 5 to have basically revisited all the characters that died from the start right the way through to the end. There are agents there that were chasing him down, trying to catch him, and ended up dead. There was the fella, I can't remember his name, the cop that got this close to catching him and then ended up in the prison with him in season 3. Loads of criminals died along the way. And it just would have been really cool if he'd have had to have made alliances with them and lots of other bad people. Interestingly, Preacher has done a slightly similar story to what I had already written, I must say, before I saw it on Preacher, where the guy with the butt for a face, I'm not going to say his name, I don't want to swear on this, I might have already done it, but I don't think I have, butt face, let's call him. He's in hell in that, and he needs to get Hitler to help him escape. So I'm a little bit disappointed that it has kind of been done already, but when I wrote this, the idea in my mind was that it was an excuse to bring back all of the people we'd known in prison. Some of the people sacrificed themselves to help him get out. I'd have liked to have started the whole season, the whole story, with someone like Teabag getting the electric chair, and basically he's committed too many crimes. He's a monster. Sentence him to death. They sacrifice him. Saying you're a monster. Off you go. Either electric chair, injection, whatever. Maybe his last words are, "I'll be back. You can't keep me down." Wakes up in the afterlife. And he's just like, oh, okay, this exists. Maybe I should have behaved. Did a bit of a mistake in assuming that none of this would actually go wrong. And then he can just be like everyone who joins in any prison drama. They go in, they get shown the ropes, they meet their inmates, and perhaps there he is, old Schofield. He's got a plan. He's got tattoos all over him. He's got his ideas, and just set it up that it's all kind of a. I can't think of the right word. I want to say metaphysical. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but just like an otherworldly prison. And they could just have loads of different people that he needed to get leverage on and help out and whatever. Some sort of toe-to-toe with the devil himself at the end. I kept imagining there being like a scene where Teabag ends up sacrificing himself to just see the mission through, and then he ends up in heaven because ultimately he's the last person who should have ever been there. And it would just be like the ironic sort of twist that his ultimate sacrifice got him in. I thought it'd be quite cool if his brother somehow got wind of it and wasn't sure whether he was crazy or not, and people, maybe his wife is getting messages from beyond the grave and thinks she's just grieving badly, and he's trying to prove that he's actually there and he needs her help and he needs her to be at a certain place. And I don't know, maybe when I was writing, I was thinking about how hard it would be if his brother was convinced he had to help out and he had to maybe join his brother in the afterlife, but wasn't 100% certain it was real, and all the kind of drama around that. It'd be quite hard. I don't know whether they'd get away with that on TV if they tried to do an episode where one of the main characters is having to decide whether he's insane, losing his mind through grief, or whether he's actually receiving messages from the afterlife and actually needs to meet up with his brother there to help him escape. Michael's whole plan could hedge on his brother coming in as he wants to leave and causing some sort of confusion. And do you know what I mean? It could be like his inside man who's at the start, the gates, talking to St. Peter, who's running him through all the sins he's committed and the fact he's going to go to hell, and then he's just gets him in a headlock, holds the door open and lets everyone out. I'm sure people would have thought of that if that was a way out, but it's one of these stories, the scripts that's been going around in my head for a long time. I just think they could have had a really good story with that, and then if they wanted to, it would have just been so much more random and off the wall than saying he wasn't dead at all, it was a conspiracy. They could have still had the terrible season 5 that they've had since, with mine in the middle. Mine would have been like a 4.5. I mean, if they're watching, they can retcon it and they could put that in there and then say everybody forgot, and that would make sense. But no, I just thought it would be awesome. It's one of those things that I've always kind of looked at and thought that Prison Break needed to up the ante properly, and upping the ante to a Middle Eastern prison where they've got to escape with some random terrorist isn't all that interesting, which is proven by the fact it flopped. Saying it out loud makes me feel like I could imagine if the guy had pitched it, they'd have probably said to him, "What the hell are you thinking? Get out of our office, goodbye." But no, I think it would have been an awesome excuse to bring back old characters, just up the ante, do a whole new left field thing. I want to see programs completely switch what genre they are midway through for no reason. I would love that. I would love it if Coronation Street just randomly had a hellmouth open and, I don't know, Gail Platt finds out she's the chosen one and she just has to start fighting vampires just completely randomly, and that's Coronation Street from now on. Casualty just finds out it's in a Garth Marenghi style scenario where this, Scotch mist is taking over and it's all just nonsense. Because I don't see the point in bringing out a program that just kind of drears on and on. Like, today we're going to have two people have an affair, and then we're going to have someone's house burned down. It's all just going to be mundane and boring. Just add something random to it. Flip it. Give me some ideas in the comments of programs you'd like to see just completely randomly change. Maybe EastEnders just decides to be happy for once and have good things happen to their characters and completely break the mold after 30 odd years. I'd love to hear your ideas. I'd love to hear what you would do with Prison Break to maybe add to this idea. I did write a whole essay on it on Sheepdog Rights. I am going to check whether I wrote it before the Preacher episode was written, because I'm certain I did, and if I didn't, then it's rather embarrassing realising it 11 minutes into a video talking about my idea. But anyway, yeah, thanks very much for watching. This is video number 6. Hit subscribe, hit like, comment, tell me your ideas, let me know what you think, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.